الحمد لله إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وأصحابه وسلم وبعد. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We are grateful to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek the blessings and mercy of Allah upon our noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his household, upon his companions, and all the followers of Nabiyyuna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the last day. So today, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, being the 13th day of Ramadan, 1445 years after the hijrah of our noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina, which is equivalent to the 24th day of March 2024 Christian era. So we'll continue bi'idhnillahi ta'ala with a short commentary on Suratu-Yusuf. So yesterday we actually took the first scene, in the body of the story of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, and the theme of the scene that was the narration of Yusuf, of the dream by Yusuf to his father. So the two players that we have in that scene are Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam and his father Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam. So today bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, it's going to be a continuation from where we stopped, and we are going to start with the second scene today, and I hope we'll be able to go over the scene and finish up the scene today, so that next week Saturday we'll probably go to the third scene, so because of time, so that we'll be able to at least cover as much as possible within the time frame. So the verse where we actually stopped yesterday was the verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي يُوسُفَ وَإِخْوَتِهِ آيَاتٌ لِلسَّائِلِينَ, that verily, so there was in Yusuf and his brothers, so signs for those that ask. Those that asked, they have a lot of signs to reflect upon in Nabiullah Yusuf and his brothers. So and that means there are signs in the life of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and even his relationship with his brothers. So for those that care to know, because it is those that care to know that actually ask. So those that asked here, as-sa'ilin here, scholars interpreted that differently. Some scholars say they are the Ahlul Kitab, the people of the book, that actually requested the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or that questioned the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in form of a test, that the prophet should tell them about the story of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So they questioned him in order to test him, and Allah revealed, this noble chapter, so that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam could, tell them, the true nature of the story of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So as a result of their request, their test, their, asking, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying there are a lot of signs, therein, if they will reflect upon that. So some scholars say, yes, the As-Sa'ilin here actually is referring to the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We said from among those people that actually led to the revelation of this chapter are, as said by some scholars, are the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who requested that he should narrate, the story of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and even maybe some of even the previous prophet. So because they requested for that, that means they care to know about the story of Nabiullah Yusuf. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now telling them that لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي يُوسُفَ وَإِخْوَتِهِ آيَاتٌ لِلسَّائِلِينَ. So that verily there are signs, in Nabiullah Yusuf and his brothers, for those that care to know, meaning that the companions that actually requested the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So to tell them that yes, you requested for this story, yes, the story is there now, but this story is not just meant, for a story's sake. It is not just a kind of history that we just narrate, a story that we just narrate just ordinarily for, enjoyment, pleasure sake. So many a times when the story of Nabiullah Yusuf is being narrated, people, feel it is something interesting. People feel enticed, but it is not just, for entertainment. Story of Nabiullah Yusuf is not at all for entertainment. It is for us to reflect upon, because there are a lot of lessons there. Imagine just the first scene we have taken yesterday. Imagine the kind of lessons, out of the scene. Then going by the second scene today, we have a lot of lessons. And the funniest thing is actually, that is the nature of the Quran, that whenever it is being recited, it is being reflected upon, it is being interpreted, thousands of times. So at those thousands of times, one will be having different nice, correct understanding. So when Quran is being recited, interpreted, reflected upon today, you have a particular understanding of it. Tomorrow, by the time it is recited, interpreted, reflected upon again, you have some fresh, understanding of what is being recited again. Sometimes it appears as though you have never listened to the same verse before. It appears as if you have never even, experienced such explanation before, whereas it is the same thing which you have listened to before. So it is always new. It is always new, and it comes with, at every time with, different interesting aspects. And that is not even all. The story of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, for the fact that it is ahsan al-qasas, the best story. So when it is being narrated, at different time, we derive different understanding, different lessons. And in fact, when it is being narrated, it is being, treated by different scholars or students of knowledge. We have different understanding, in fact, different perspective of even looking at the situation. So may Allah grant us the understanding of, this noble chapter and the Quran entirely. So today, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, so we continue from verse 8, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, إِذْ قَالُوا لَا يُوسُفُ وَأَخُوهُ أَحَبُّ إِلَىٰ أَبِينَا. So then we take that till, yes, you continue. We take it till the end of the scene. I hope you'll be able to get the end of the scene, because we actually, divided that initially. Yes, Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذ قالوا ليوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا
إذ قالوا ليوسف
إذ قالوا ليوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا منا ونحن أصبة إن أبانا لفي ضلال مبين اقتلوا يوسف أو اطرحوه أرضا يخل لكم وجه أبيكم وتكونوا من بعده قوما صالحين قال قائل منهم لا تقتلوا يوسف وألقوه في غيابة الجب يلتقطه بعض السيارة إن كنتم فاعلين قالوا يا أبانا ما لك لا تأمنا على يوسف وإنا له لناصحون أرسله معنا غدا يرتع ويلعب وإنا له لحافظون قال إني ليحزنني أن تذهبوا به وأخاف أن يأكله الذئب وأنتم عنه غافلون قالوا لئن أكله الذئب ونحن عصبة إنا إذا لخاسرون فلما ذهبوا به وأجمعوا أن يجعلوه في غيابة الجب وأوحينا إليه لتنبئنهم بأمرهم هذا وهم لا يشعرون وجاءوا أباهم عشاء يبكون قالوا يا أبانا إنا ذهبنا نستبق وتركنا يوسف عند متاعنا فأكله الذئب وما أنت بمؤمن لنا ولو كنا صادقين وجاءوا على قميصه بدم كذب قال بل سولت لكم أنفسكم أمرا فصبر جميل والله المستعان على ما تصفون وجاءت سيارة فأرسلوا واردهم فأدلى دلوه قال يا بشرى هذا غلام وأسروه بضاعة والله عليم بما يعملون وأسروه بضاعة والله عليم بما يعملون وشروه بثمن بخس دراهم معدودة وكانوا فيه من الزاهدين
Alhamdulillah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that إذ قالوا لا يوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا. إذ قالوا, when they said, who said here? The brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So, and those brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam here are actually the half brother of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Like we mentioned yesterday, that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was having two types of brothers. He had a full brother and half brothers. So the half brothers here are they were the one that said here, as we are going to understand at the later part of this same verse. إِذْ قَالُوا, when they said, La Yusufu, that verily Yusuf wa akhuhu, and his brother. So his brother here is referring to the full brother of Nabiullah Yusuf. So that means his full brother was not among those that said here. So meaning that it is the half brothers of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam that are saying here. And how many of them? 10 of them. Because yesterday we actually mentioned that Yusuf was having how many brothers? 11 brothers. completely. So that is ahada ashara kawkaba that we have in that verse there. So including his full brother. So if the full brother is no longer there now, then that means there are 10 of them. They have brothers. So those 10 brothers, إِذْ قَالُوا لَيُوسُفُ وَأَخُوهُ, when they said, verily Yusuf and his brothers and his full brother, أَحَبُّ إِلَىٰ أَبِينَا, are more beloved to our father. Those two brothers, the Yusuf and his brothers, the two of them are more beloved to our brother, our father. Minna, more than us. Our father loved them more than us. So, وَنَحْنُ عَصْبَةٌ, and we are actually a group of 10, group of people that we are connected together. We are connected together. Perhaps we are stronger than them because we are even older than them. So, but then our father, loved them more than us. Inna abana, verily our father, lafi dolalin mubin. Our father is in a great error. Our father is indeed in a great error because of that is action of loving Yusuf and his brother more than us. So this is the first verse, which is a kind of introduction to that thing in particular. So in this verse itself, there are a lot of lessons to be learned. A lot of lessons are there to be learned. The first thing is these brothers, they started something here. And what was that which they started? That is speculation. Speculation, not Cade. This is speculation. Speculation, run, guessing, suspicion. There was nothing, absolutely, to indicate that Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam loved Yusuf and his brother more than the other, brothers, the other 10 in what we have seen previously. Perhaps what we will think of is because Nabiullah Yaqub was telling Yusuf not to narrate his dream to his brothers. His brothers there does not even exclude his half brother, his full brother. So meaning that that action was only a kind of justice among the children to protect Yusuf from the evil that can emanate from those other brothers, and also to protect those other brothers from having any evil plot against Yusuf. That is a lesson for all of us. When we have children, we notice a particular trait in one child among our children, then it is always our responsibility to protect that trait in that child, as long as we see that that could lead to envy or a problem among the other children. So we try to protect that child so that that trait in him will be protected, and also the others that may possibly envy that will not have opportunity to do that, and as a result we are also protecting them as well. So that was what Yaqub alayhi salam did in what we have seen previously. So there was nothing absolutely to indicate that Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam loved Yusuf and his brother, his full brother, more than the other 10. But then they speculated here that Yusuf, and in fact this speculation is a very strong one, because they are saying La Yusuf with a kind of stress that verily it is indeed something that there is no doubt about. So Yusuf and his brother, Ahabbu ila abina, are more beloved to our father, minna, more than us. So that is the first thing, speculation. So whenever there is going to be a problem, whenever people are going to plot evil, the first stage mostly is speculation. If someone is doing fine, Allah has blessed someone, and people are going to plot evil against him, the first thing usually will be that people will start suspicion, speculation that because he's wealthy, he's doing as if he's the only one that is wealthy in the world, even though he has never did that. So he always wear nice clothes so that we should know that he is the best among us. He's wearing his own clothes without even having any interest in what you are wearing, but they will start thinking about him, speculating. Then that will start the beginning of problem, just like it started here. Then aside speculation, there was another problem here, and that other problem is arrogance, pompousness. They said وَنَحْنُ عُصْبَةٌ, and we are a group of 10. Usually in Arabic, when they say Asba, it means a group, association that contain about 10 people. and that are having the same, kind of ideas. They have the same, I mean, their activities are almost same. They are connected, spiritually they are connected. They have the same thinking. So people will refer to them as usba. So they are saying wa nahnu usba. This statement of wa nahnu usba is a kind of statement that shows that they are claiming superiority over Yusuf and his brother. So they are praising, they were praising themselves. That is a statement of self-praise. So that's another problem. Whenever there is going to be problem also, we try to feel as if we are more superior than others. Then that is when we start envy. We think, why will it be him? Why will it be him? Is he the only one? So we value ourselves. We think we are more valuable even than him. Then there is going to be problem. So arrogance is the second problem here. Then the third problem here is they are also concluding that inna abana lafi dalalin mubin, that verily our father is in a great error. So that is wrong judgment. Wrong judgment. Usually we do this many a times. We judge people wrongly after speculation. I think he's doing that because of this. He's doing that because of this, and we will have concluded. Whereas the person is not even having anything to do with our judgment. He does not even have anything to do with our speculation. We were the ones speculating, we were the ones judging, just like the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam also judged here. So they also judged their father, that the father, as a result of his love for Yusuf and his brothers, so is in a great error. Was he actually in a great error? So he was not in fact, he was not in any error whatsoever, but they judged that he is in a great error. And that statement of theirs itself is a pointer to something that we understand based on their claim. The claim is that Yusuf and his full brother are more beloved to their father. Now, from this statement and from the statement of Yusuf earlier, we'll see the difference between the two of them. So this is something that usually happens between parents and children. At times, if a particular parent, maybe father or mother, will appear to, show love to a particular child more than others, but not actually because he or she wants to do so, but because of the reaction of, or because of the actions of that particular child and the others. He has to show that. Sometimes a child is going to address you. He address you, oh dear father, oh father, is coming to you, rubbing your skin with hand and all this, and the other child is there saying, father, how are you? By the time you want to give any of them something, this is something natural. Even you are going to give them the same thing, the way you present it to the one that is saying, father, how are you, is different from the one that comes to you and hug you, embrace you. There will be some sign that you are not doing the right thing to me. That sign will always be there. But that is not actually because you want to love that one more than this, but because of the actions of both of them. This one show affections to you, whereas this one decided not to show any form of affection to you. This is what has happened here. Imagine when Yusuf was going to address their parent, their father. Yusuf addressed the father as what? Yeah, Albert, oh my dear father. Then he started narrating the dream. Now these ones now, even the father was not there. They were among themselves and they started judging the father. Now imagine if the father was not there and they were judging the father wrongly and accusing the father of being in a great error. Now imagine when they will address the father, in his presence, as we are going to see in subsequent verses. So this is a pointer to the fact that even that which they notice of love, of their father to Yusuf and his brother, is not actually something, is very likely that this is not something that is so natural, but as a result of their actions, as a result of the way they present themselves, to the father. That is what actually led to this. So now, when speculation is there, you have some form of arrogance, you judge wrongly, the next thing will be action. You want to take action because you already judged. You already decided that this is the reason. Then you want to change, the narration. You want to change the situation, and that will bring about your reaction. So And the reaction is what we are now going to have in the next verse here. So after judging wrongly and concluded like that, they believed that they were not having, the necessary attention of their father as a result of the love that the father is having for Yusuf and his brother. So the next thing is they will take action, in order to, solve that problem which they perceived they were having. So to solve that problem now, they started the action by, their suggestion, and that is Okotulu Yusufa. You kill Yusuf. Some of them suggested like that what you are going to do is, since Yusuf is preventing your father from loving you, then the next thing is you try to eliminate him. You kill Yusuf. Or you throw him, cast him, ardon, to a land, unknown land. Cast him to an unknown land, so that once you cast him there, then you have the attention of your father. They said, Yakhlu lakum wajhu abikum. Once you do that, the face of your father will be free to you. So you have direct access to your father, because Yusuf that is preventing your father from loving you will no longer be there. Then your father will love you. This portion is an indication to the fact that Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was actually their problem. In the first verse, it was as if it was Yusuf and his brother. But here now, the brother was excluded. That is to tell us that the actual problem was not the brother, but Yusuf. But because, both of them are full brothers, so they had to combine the two of them. But when it comes to action now, it is actually Yusuf that is their problem. So it's either that you kill Yusuf, or you throw him, cast him into an unknown land. So, Yakhlu lakum wajhu abikum. Then the face of your father will be free to you. You have direct access to your father in such a way that your father will not have option than to love you. And after that, watakunu min ba'dihi qawman salihin. Then after Yusuf, after you might have eliminated him or cast him to an unknown land, then you become righteous. You become righteous. So becoming righteous here can be interpreted differently according to scholars. One of the interpretation is that which you are going to do. You are going to eliminate him, kill him, or you cast him to an unknown land, is an act of iniquity. It's a sin. It's a very grievous act. So once you do that, after doing that, then you can repent. You repent and you become righteous. That's one interpretation, of which many of us, we fall into this today. We want to talk. We want to backbite somebody. Excuse me. That's part of what I actually missed in the first verse. Backbiting was one of the problems that happened there. Backbiting. And the backbiting in that case was not just ordinary one. Backbiting of father. For the children to be backbiting their parents, father, and their brothers. This is more grievous than the first one, the ordinary backbiting. Because the father was not there. They speculated about him, they judged him wrongly. They feel that they were more than they were better, pride than compared to Yusuf and his brother, and at the same time they backbited the father and Yusuf and his brother. That is also part of it. So now many a times now we want to backbite, we want to talk ill of someone. When I say astaghfirullah, what I'm going to say, you already know that statement you want to utter is a sin. You are saying astaghfirullah even before committing the sin. This is absolutely nonsense. You seek forgiveness before committing the sin, and then you are committing the sin. Perhaps maybe your reward in terms of the sin even will be more than not seeking forgiveness before it, because that means you realize it's a sin before committing it. A lot of the time we do this. Say astaghfirullah, but it's a bad guy. Once you know astaghfirullah, then you keep your mouth shut. Don't say it, because you already know that which you are going to say is a sin. So this is similar to what they did here. They already knew that plan is an evil plan. So they thought, like, once they execute that plan, وَتَكُونُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحِينَ, then you become good people, righteous people after him. That's one interpretation, which is also wrong of them. So, and also, this is also telling us the kind of people they were, that they were not just bad, but as a result of the evil of Shaitan. For them to realize that which they want to do was actually evil, and after that they were going to repent, that is to tell us that they have some level of, goodness, righteousness in them. It is only the one that is having some level of righteousness that will be able to identify the right from the wrong. The one that is not having any level of righteousness, the heart will have been darkened in such a way that you will not even be able to identify the right from the wrong. You will keep committing the wrong. So, but in their own case, obviously, the only difference between them and Yusuf is just one thing. I mean, in terms of honor, and that is the fact that Yusuf was a prophet of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, and they were not. But other qualities, other honor that belongs to Yusuf also belong to them. Yusuf was a child of Nabiullah. They were also children of Nabiullah, a grandchild of Nabiullah. They were also grandchildren of Nabiullah. Great grandchild of Nabiullah is Yusuf. They were also great grandchildren of Nabiullah. So they have almost equal honor, except that Yusuf was a prophet of Allah, they were not. So that is to tell us the level of upbringing they must have had. So, and this is also, something that should ring, a kind of bell in our brain. Today, sometimes we feel like our children should be saints because we feel we are righteous. Even at our level, when we know that we have a lot of sins, we have a lot of iniquities, we have a lot of negativities, we feel like the children should be 100% righteous. We don't give them, any level of, breathing space that like they should. They are also human beings. If this could be children of prophet of Allah, planning this, that should tell us that no matter how righteous you are, because you cannot be a prophet of Allah, that is sure. So no matter how righteous you could be, then you should expect that your children cannot be 100% perfect. So you have to try. But at the same time, you also, give them some consideration, like they are also human beings. So you try to, guard them. You try to protect them. You try to teach them. But then at the same time, you also understand that they cannot be prophet of Allah, just like you yourself cannot be prophet of Allah. And even the children of, prophet of Allah, they have some shortcomings. This is what we have seen here. They were the ones speculating here. They were the ones backbiting their parents here. They were the ones planning evil plots for their brothers here. So this is something that we should keep in our mind. Also, وَتَكُونُ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحِينَ here could also mean that after that, your status will become good. So salih here can mean righteousness in terms of the deen. It could also mean righteousness in terms of the worldly things. So it does not necessarily mean that righteousness in terms of the deen, the way we know it. It can also mean that you now become people of good status. Because initially, they felt like they were not having the attention of their father. So they felt like they were not in good status because of Yusuf. Because the father loved Yusuf more than them. So once Yusuf is eliminated, then their problem is solved and the status will become good. So it may not necessarily that وَتَكُونُ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحِينَ means that they will repent after that, but that their status will be good. But what appear to be, the closest here is that they will be righteous after eliminating Yusuf or after throwing him into an unknown land. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Then after that, so to also tell us that actually they have some level of goodness in them, just like we mentioned earlier. The plan is you kill him or you cast him to an unknown land. Then قَالَ قَائِلٌ مِنْهُمْ, then a speaker among them said, so لَا تَقْتُلُوا يُوسُف, don't kill Yusuf. Don't kill Yusuf. That is to tell us that they are not just all bad. They have some level of goodness in them. And in fact, even among them, there are some that are actually better than the other. And that is to tell us that initially, they were grouped together. And it was mentioned here as, they were suggesting that Uqtulu Yusuf, as if all of them said. But it is not all of them that said that. That is why a speaker among them said, no, La taqtulu Yusuf, don't kill Yusuf. So this is also a lesson for us. Sometimes people will sit in a place, slandering some other people or backbiting some other people. You say, I'm not part of them. I'm not speaking. I'm only doing adhkar there. you are also part of them. Even you are not, saying anything, but you are there listening to what they are saying. Then you're also part of them.
And
You know,
enjoying
in
it.
in the Quran, we have some people. Allah mentions some people that their own case is not that like they tell us life, but what they love to is to listen to lies. Sama'una lil kadhib. They listen to lies. So they don't tell lie, but they always listen to lies. So you don't slander someone, you don't backbite. At the same time, you don't sit in the company of those that are backbiting, of those that are slandering, saying that no, I am not part of them, I'm only listening. Once you are listening, you'll be joined with them. Remember, in the day of Qiyamah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said that in the day of Qiyamah, if you love some group of people, then you will be raised among them. So when you love to sit in the people of the backbiters, I hope that English is correct. So then in the day of Qiyamah, then perhaps you'll be raised along with them as a backbiter also. So if you are not, committing an evil, don't also join those people that are committing, or don't even sit with those people committing that evil. You are not slandering anyone. You are not backbiting anyone. Don't sit in a place where they are backbiting. Don't sit in a place where they are slandering. So this person that said La taqtulu Yusuf, it means he's not that bad as the one that suggested that Uqtulu Yusuf. But then he was also part of them. So he was joined among. So he said La taqtulu Yusuf, don't kill Yusuf. Wa alquhu fi ghayabatil jub. What you should do is throw him, just cast Yusuf to a deep or deepest part of a well, an abandoned well, so that once you do that, he will still be alive, but at the same time your father will not have access to him. So in this case now, this is also to tell us the kind of person Yusuf was, alayhi salatu wasalam. Despite the fact that Yusuf was hated by those brothers, still they have some level of affection for him. That is why that one that said La taqtulu Yusuf, don't kill him, still they don't want him to die, even though they don't like him. They feel he's preventing their father from loving them, but at the same time they can't afford to lose him. So he said wa alquhu fi ghayabatil jub. What you should do is throw him into the deepest part of a well. So once you do that, yaltaqituhu ba'du sayyara. So perhaps some travelers will notice him in that well. So and perhaps they will take him out and he will still be alive. In kuntum fa'ilin. If actually you want to execute any plan, if you have any plan to execute, in order to have a kind of attention that you want from your father, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. So this is a kind of rahmah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created with Nabiullah Yusuf naturally. Despite the fact that they hate him, still they don't want to lose him. They still feel like when they throw him in that well, then at least some people will find him and he will be saved. But then he will not be able to prevent, because the father will not have access to him again. Then the father will not have attention for them. So ghayabat al-jub. Ghayabat actually is from ghaib. We all know ghaib, something that is hidden, that is unknown. So it's actually an indication to the deepest part of the well, so that once someone is there, it can hardly be noticed. And when they say ghayabat here, it means a well that has been abandoned, that is not frequently being used. So usually in the olden days, or even up to now, maybe in some of our places, we have some wells that are just there, perhaps in the bush, inside a thick forest, such that maybe when people are just passing by and they feel thirsty, they can go there and have access to water. So this is the kind of well they are referring to, and usually it is very, very deep, not just a light well. So it is a very deep well that when you throw someone there, it is quite difficult for the person to be noticed. But then that kind of well is not like someone will enter. Usually what they will do is they send a bucket or something to get water there. So when you throw it there, their intention is perhaps Yusuf will stick to the rope of that bucket, and they will notice that someone is there. That was their plan. So in kuntum fa'ilin, if you are going to take any action against Yusuf, and indeed that was the action that they did. That was the action that they did. But before doing this, So now, still on executing the plan. So this is where we now see how their relationship were with their father, and which differentiates, them from Yusuf, and how they were going to be treated by the father. Qala ya abana. They said, "Oh, our father."
قالوا يا
Thank
أبانا.
you. Qalu ya abana. Oh, our father. They said, "Oh, our father. Ma laka. Why won't you? What is the problem with you? That kind of words. For a child to address the father like that. Why won't you? What's the problem with you, father? That's a very expensive statement. From children to father, telling you how they relate with their father compared to how Yusuf relates with their father. And that also shows how the father will have treated them differently. So meaning that if Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam has treated them differently, then that was actually as a result of their actions, not just because the father want to do so. Although this is not to say that for us that are parents, especially, that when we have children, we have 2, 3 children, that we should show love to one more than the other. We should try as much as possible, even when one of the child is quite polite compared to other, he treats us nicely or what have you. We should try as much as possible not to show that love in the presence of others, at least, so that we don't create a problem. Because even in this situation, despite the fact that we believe that Nabiullah Yaqub, because he's a Nabiullah, we believe that he was just among them, but despite that, the children still felt some level of injustice, and that began the problem. That initiated the problem they were having with Yusuf. So we should try as much as possible not to treat a particular child differently. That is not to say that because sometimes when they are talking of justice among children, sometimes people think like it means when you are spending 5,000 won for this child, then you must spend 5,000 won for the other child. That is not the justice. Justice means when this one is in need of 5,000, this one is not in need. You spend that 5,000 for the one that is in need at the time. This one is in need of 2,000. Spend it on that one. It's not like you have a son, you have a daughter, and you want to, buy, a cloth for them for Eid. Then you now buy a cloth of, let's say 25,000 won for the son. You now say I must buy 25,000 won cloth for the daughter as well to be just. That is not justice. That is not justice, because even you and your wife, if your wife is going to use a cloth of 20,000 won, maybe you use that of 5,000 won. Mostly, the outfits of man and woman are not always same. So you can't say you want to spend the same amount and that is justice. No, what this one is in need of, that is what you give him. What this one is also in need of, that is what you give him. Same thing applicable to when we have more than a wife. So when we have 2, 3 wives also, or even 4, so justice does not mean that once you give this one 100,000 won, you must give this one 100,000 won. No, you have to give them based on their needs. This one is having 3 children. This one is having only 1 child. Then you give this one 100,000 and you give this one 100,000. Is that justice? That's not justice. So that's not justice. We have to be just among them, but then justice in how it should be. May Allah assist us. So they address the father with this: "Oh father, why won't you? Why won't you entrust Allah Yusuf? Why won't you entrust Yusuf to us? What's your problem? Why is it that you cannot entrust Yusuf, to us?" They were addressing their father like this. So wa inna lahu lanasihun. And when we are actually sincere to Yusuf, we are indeed sincere to Yusuf. So what's your problem? Why won't you entrust him to us when we are actually sincere to him? We are sincere brothers to him. So this is how it happened. Usually, and that is why scholars will say there are any kind of lesson you want in life will always be found in Suratu-Yusuf. This is part of the lessons for the security agencies or those that are working with intelligence and what have you here. Whenever someone is telling lie, you can always know from the beginning of the sentence. You can always know, because he will be the one suggesting, He will be the one planning. He will be the one judging. He will be the one, doing everything. They were the one, accusing the father that malaka la ta'manna. Malaka la ta'manna. Why won't you Allah Yusuf? Why won't you entrust Yusuf? What's your problem that you cannot entrust Yusuf to us? In our local language, they will say the one that is selling vegetable. So someone wants to buy vegetable from the person and says, "Oh, the seller of vegetable, why is your vegetable as cool as this?" He said, "My vegetable is not from dustbin." What is the indication? It means that vegetable is indeed from dustbin, because that was not the question. The question is, why is your vegetable as cool as this? Then the response should be that I kept it in refrigerator, or no, it's just like that. But it's now saying my vegetable is not from dustbin. What is the relationship of dustbin with coolness? That means that vegetable is from dustbin. They were the one accusing the father. At the same time, they were the one exonerating themselves. Accusing the father that what's the problem of the father, that he cannot entrust Yusuf to them. And they were the one exonerating themselves that we are indeed sincere to Yusuf. We are indeed sincere to him. So you are the problem. When they said that, Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, being a wise prophet of Allah, what did he say? So they said, the children, those children continue by saying, Arsilhu, send Yusuf with us. Ma'ana, send him with us. Ghadan, tomorrow when we are going out, send Yusuf with us. So if you do that, Yarutan, he's going to enjoy with us. He will eat a lot of fruits, drink whatever he wants to drink, enjoy different food. He's going to enjoy with us. Wayal'ab, and he's going to play. He will have enough time to play with us. He will be able to play with us instead of just keeping him with you. Wa inna lahu lahafidhun, for indeed we are going to be a watcher over him. We are going to watch over him. We will not allow any problem to happen to him. Just imagine, they were the ones accusing the father. They were the ones exonerating themselves. They were the ones suggesting what to do to the father. They were even the ones suggesting that no any problem will happen to him. The father had never asked them that if you go with him, something will happen, or this or this or that. They keep saying this. From this statement itself, it will have been realized that these people were actually not sincere. So when you see a group of people that are not, when you are dealing with people that are not sincere, so if you are actually psychological enough, you'll be able to detect their insincerity even from their speech. You'll be able to detect their level of falsehood even from their speech. So this is to the security agents, and that's why when they are talking of intelligence reports today or what have you, these are the kind of things they notice in people. When they stand with you, they see the way you are reacting. They are seated with you, maybe in a vehicle or whatever. They see the way you are doing. They will notice that no, something is going on. Something is going on, because the way you react will be different from the way others will react. So anyway, that's for the security. They have a lot of lessons to learn, and the security agencies and what have you can meet scholars with that. So then Qal Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam said, understanding the children, then he did not even respond to them as if, if I were you, we know that it is very possible he is already aware of the dream of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and he knew what might have happened, and he has been trying to protect Yusuf as well, and he knew his other children too. He has been trying to protect them as well. He should tell them, no, I will not do that. But he did not just tell them no straight away, for you to tell you how just he was to the other children as well. For you to know how just he was to the other children, he said, Inni, verily, I verily, la yahzununi, I will be grieved. It will sadden my heart. Anta dhabubi, that you go out with him. Wa akhafu an yakulahu dhi'be. I am afraid that when you go out with him, wolf is going to devour Yusuf. You go out with him, he is going to be devoured by wolf. So I will not be happy for that. I do not have any fear for you. I know that you are good people. I do not have any problem with you. But the problem I have is when you go out with him, because the common animal, in our forest here are wolves.
it is very easy. Yusuf is just a small boy. It's very easy for him to be devoured by a wolf. He will be devoured by a wolf, and I will be so sad as a result. So that's why I will not want to send him with you. وَأَنْتُمْ عَنْهُ غَافِلُونَ, and you will not even be aware of it. You wouldn't know, because it's a small child. Perhaps he will have been left in a place. Maybe you just ask him to rest or something when you will be playing or doing some other things, and he will be devoured by wolf. So it may not necessarily be your problem, but because of the situation of the city, that's why I will not decide to send him with you. Just imagine how just he was to the other children. So not telling them that I cannot send him with you. If we were the one today, we tell you are a very bad person. Now I wouldn't want you to corrupt my child. How can I allow you to corrupt my child? That's how we say. I'm not exempted from this. We all do this today. Anyway, maybe there is someone that is exempted from this, but this is a lesson for us to learn. So when a child is not doing fine, and we have some others that are doing fine, so it is not always good. It is not always good to compare, to always tell those ones that are not doing fine that, look at this one, I will not allow you to corrupt this, I will not this, I will not do, you are so bad. No, we try to, treat them nicely as well. Perhaps they will take admonition as a result. But by the time we start scolding them, thinking we are favoring this one, at the end of the day, that scolding will not have any positive effect in them, and at the same time, it will be a problem even for the one that we feel is doing fine, because they will definitely be a problem to that. So, but instead, we try to protect that one, and we try to be just to them by treating them nicely as well. So that was what Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam has done here. He said, I do not have any problem with you. My problem is, it will sadden my heart. I will be grieved when you go out with him, and you left him in a place maybe to rest or to be enjoying, and he's now being devoured by a wolf. So it will be a great loss to me. I wouldn't want that to happen. Then immediately, they said, this is like I said earlier, when people are plotting evil, it could be easily detected. It could be easily detected. They will try all possible way to convince you. Yes, it's always a good quality that when you have a good opinion, then you should be able to speak convincingly also. But then there is a level to everything. When someone is trying to give you excuse, for not doing something, you should not always insist. You can insist to a certain level when you see some level of goodness, but there is a limit to everything. Once you keep insisting, by all means, then that means you also have a special interest. You have a special interest, and that is what happened here. They said immediately, the father said that. They said, if Yusuf will be eaten up by a wolf, and we are a group of strong men, then inna idan la khasirin. Then we will have been a losers. We will have been a group of losers when we are strong men, and what will now come and eating up Yusuf? That will not happen. How could it happen? Then we will be losers. They immediately told the father this before they were exonerating themselves, that we are very sincere to Yusuf. It's only that you don't want to entrust Yusuf to us. Now, because they realized that the father was not interested, in whatever evil plans they are having, the father is saying like, my problem is wolf. Then they said, we are strong man, strong men. There was nothing that could have happened to him. We will not allow anything to happen to him. So they spoke convincingly, to just convince the father to send Yusuf with them, alayhi salatu wasalam. The father was not having option at the end. Remember, I already mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did not just give the whole account, just the important point in the life history of Yusuf. A lot of things happened there. So a lot of statements, convincing statements they gave the father before the father accepted to send Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam with them. فَلَمَّا ذَهَبُوا بِهِ. So the father at the end agreed that Yusuf should go out with them. So فَلَمَّا ذَهَبُوا بِهِ, when they went out with Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, وَأَجْمَعُوا أَنْ يَجْعَلُوهُ فِي غَيَابَاتِ الْجُبِّ, and they actually decided to cast Yusuf into the deepest part of an abandoned well. They decided that And they did that. They executed their plan. Remember, one of them already suggested to them that this is what you should do. So they executed their plan by doing that exactly. So immediately they did that. That was the first test to Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So his brothers, as a young child, a small child, ordinarily the father always protects Yusuf from going out with them. But a child will always want to go out. For those of us that are having toddlers at home, whenever you are going out, they want to go out with you. You are going to lab, they will tell you they want to go to lab as well. Even at night, they want to go. They want to go as well. But you say, no, don't go. Because it is not healthy for them. It is not good for them. But still, they want to go. So a child will always be amused. Whenever, there is outing, you ask a child to go out with some other friends, he will be happy. Or even brothers, he will be most happy. Yusuf also never thought something like that could have happened to him, because these are his brothers. But unfortunately, it is his brothers that threw him into an abandoned well. That was the first test. So, but then, whenever there is a test, I believe at every point in time, or in fact at this particular moment, each of us is being tested with one thing or the other by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should not see the negative in the test alone. We should always know that test will always come with some positive aspect of it. And that is the next statement that follow. Wa awhayna ilay. And we inspired him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired Yusuf. Immediately he was thrown into that well. Then there was inspiration by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was the inspiration? لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ. You are going to inform them about their actions. That actions which they did. This is not the final. There is a kind of adage or idiom in our language. They will say, when the ghost goes, then the comes come. This is permit me to say. Something like that. So actually, I don't want to use what goes around comes around. Actually, it's not featured into this situation. But anyway, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam that لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ. You are going to inform them of their action. This is not the final. This is just action. In our high school physics, we always know that to every action
there is equal and opposite.
There is equal and opposite reaction. So that which they did was their action. Allah informed Yusuf, inspired Yusuf, that there was going to be an equal and opposite reaction to that, and that was what? That will not be unknown be amrihim. You are going to inform them of their actions. And which actions? Rather, these actions which they did, these actions of them, their evil plot which they executed, you are going to inform them. Wahum la yash'urun. At the time when they will not be aware, they will have forgotten. They will not even realize that you were the one. So you are going to inform them. So that is why at the end, they were informed. Even when they never realized it was Yusuf, they were informed of their action before they now repented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever there is a test, whenever we are passing through any difficult situation, we should know that to that difficult situation, there are some, level of positivity. There will be some light there. There will be some advantage to that situation also. So we should not only look at the negative situation, we should thank Allah. Anyway, the situation of Muslims is such that anything that happened to Muslim is always good. When there is something that has to do with happiness, and that happened to a Muslim, a joy, then the Muslim is going to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is best for him. And if also something that is a difficult situation, a kind of is in a sad situation, then also a Muslim is not the one that will see it as a bad thing completely. A Muslim is such that he's going to be patient and is also going to be good for him. So whenever we are passing through any difficult situation, we should know that that difficult situation will be accompanied by some level of goodness. So as a result of the actions of the brother, there was an inspiration to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So out of the inspiration of Allah to Yusuf and the action of the brother, which one is better? Inspiration is better. So that means even if that was a test, then what comes out of the test is better than even the test itself. So that's as regarding that verse. So please just permit me to use 5-10 more minutes so that we can just round up this scene. Then we start from the other scene next week. So then after doing that, waja'u abahum, then those brothers came back to their father. When? Aisha, at night. They came at night. You know, whenever you have committed an evil and you need to tell people what has happened, you want to like falsify the situation. It is always easy to falsify situation at night. We all do this, you know, at a point in time. Yeah, we all do this. That I'm saying it with all level of sensitivity. You know, when we were children, sometimes we will go to play ball. You know, from that we tell the parent that we are just going outside here. They will think we are outside. From that outside, we go to the field. We go and play ball. Then we'll have forgotten that we are supposed to be back in 30 minutes. After 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. It will be night. That will be when we remember that, oh, I'm supposed to have been at home. Then it will be difficult to go back home. You now be, you know, a very difficult situation. A very difficult situation. So you have to be looking. You cannot go home directly, and you cannot remain outside. So you have to like find a way of doing as if something, you know, when they ask you to speak itself. To speak will be a problem. Maybe you try to go to one of your uncle that can, you know, try to cover you in one way or the other. We all try to, you know, do some cover up. They also, you know, attempted this. They did not go back home immediately. They went when? At night. And they went, you know, weeping, crying. They were also crying. Usually when we do this, we also cry. We do as if, so that there will be some level of sympathy. As if we were innocent, but we were never innocent. Actually, we were culpable of what we have done. Just like this brother of these brothers of Yusuf, they went back to their father and, you know, weeping at night. And what they say, "Qalu ya abana," they said, "Oh, our father, inna dhahabna." We went out. Nastabiqu. We went out to play, to race. We went out racing. At the place where we were racing, وَتَرَكْنَا يُوسُفَ عِنْدَ مَتَاعِنَا. We left Yusuf at the place where we kept our belongings while we were racing. So we kept him to be watching over, or to just sit, because he's a child, to sit in the place where we kept our belongings. And he was devoured. He was devoured by a wolf. You know, initially they never thought that was what they were going to say. They got, you know, this statement, the idea from what? From the statement of the father, because the father already, you know, said that. So they said, فَأَكَلَهُ الذِّئْبَ, and he was devoured. He was eaten up by a wolf. To convince the father, وَمَا أَنْتَ, now, telling you the kind of people they were, and telling you how you can easily catch the one that is not sincere. Immediately they said that, they narrated the story. So before even the father utter any statement, what they say? They said, وَمَا أَنْتَ مُؤْمِنٍ لَنَا, you will never believe us. You will never believe us. وَلَوْ كُنَّا صَادِقِينَ, even if we were truthful, even if what we are narrating is the truth, you will never believe us. You know, they were crying, saying that we went out racing. We left Yusuf at the place where we kept our belonging, and he was eaten up by a wolf. But then we know that you will never believe us, even though we were telling the truth. This again informed the father that they were not truthful. So whenever someone is lying, you definitely know that no, this is not the truth. You know, lie cannot go straight. There will be some point it will have to, you know, turn to this corner, go like this, turn to this corner. That is always lie. So they did that again. Then the father immediately know that they were actually not truthful. So still, waja'u, they came to the father. You know, when they were coming, they came ala qamisihi. They came to the father with Yusuf's shirt.
Evidence.
Bidami kadibi. you know, they know it is not just easy to convince the father, and they knew the father was not going to believe them. But then, to prove their innocence and to convince the father, they came with an evidence. And what was the evidence? Waja'u ala qamisihi. They came to their father with, you know, the shirt of Yusuf, such that on that shirt, bidamin kadibi, there was a false blood. They had blood on the shirt of Yusuf, but that blood was false, not the actual blood of Yusuf, alayhi salatu wasalam, to tell the father that this is the remain of Yusuf, the cloth that we were able to take. So even for you to know that he was eaten up by a wolf, you see blood on the shirt. So they did that. So call. Then the father immediately said after that, because he knew the children he's having, and he knew from their statement. So call. The father said, Bal sawwalat lakum anfusukum amra. But your mind has pushed you. Your mind has whispered something to you, you know, to do something, and you did that. Actually, you did something based on the inspiration from your mind, not what really happened, not what you narrated. It is not actually what you narrated, but you did something from the evil plot of your souls. So that's what happened. The father knew that immediately, but the father was not going to argue with them that you have to go and bring them, you have to this, you have to that. He knew that something had happened because initially he knew about the dream of Yusuf, alayhi salatu wassalam, and he knew that dream was going to come true. but then he knew they must have done something for them not to do anything. That was why he was trying to protect, you know, Yusuf from not narrating the dream to them. But still, it happened. So he said, but fasaberun jamil, but beautiful patience. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be patient. Beautiful patience. So scholars say beautiful patience means patience that comes with acceptance. You know, that comes with happiness, with the qada of Allah, with the judgment of Allah. Allah judged you, then you accept willingly, not when you do not have any option. Sometimes we say we are patient because we do not have any alternative. But even when you had alternative, but you accepted the judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is beautiful patience. That means the patience that is ugly is the one that is accepted. You know, when you do not have any other option. When one is not having any other option, then you accept it. For instance, sometimes there are some of us here now, maybe they presented us with, you know, roti. Our brothers here, they make a nice roti sometimes. They present us with roti. There are some of the Nigerian brothers that are very interested in the roti. In fact, when they don't see it, they ask for it. But there are some, they just eat it just for them to eat, not like they enjoy. So that's the situation. The one that, you know, eat it willingly and even wants more, that's Sabirun Jamil. But the one that, you know, you just have to eat it because you have to eat, but it's not really because you like it. So that's the other way around. So for Sabirun Jamil, the father told that he was going to be patient and, you know, a beautiful one. Wallahu musta'an, and Allah is it is Allah's help that is sick. Allah ma tasifun, on what you described. You only described it. This is your description. I know that's not the exact thing that happened, but based on your description, only Allah's help is sought, and Allah is the one that is going to help. So waja'at sayyara, and you know, a traveler came, a group of travelers came around, فَأَرْسَلُوا وَارِدَهُمْ, and they sent, you know, a searcher among them. A searcher in this case means those days, whenever group of people are traveling, they travel in group. So there will be a particular person that they will send around to look for water, to search for water, so that they get them with water, or inform them that, oh, there is water in so place. So they send that searcher, the one that is in search of water. They sent him to search for water. That's the waridahum. That's the warid. The warid is the one that is searching for water. So for adla dalwa, and that one lowers his bucket into the well. Immediately the bucket is lowered into the well. You know, that was the plan of the brothers. Yusuf, you know, stuck to the bucket. And he realized that, when you are going to lift that, you realize something is there. Then he looked into it and saw that, behold, there was a boy.
يا
Then called, Ya
بشرى
Bushra. Then he said, oh, glad tidings.
هذا
Oh, glad tidings. Hada
غلام
Gulam, this is a boy. This is a glad tidings. Oh, glad tidings here. Meaning that, oh, happiness. This is a boy here means that he has gotten something interesting. Because he did not plan for that. He was only looking for water. But now he got a boy, which they were going to sell to get money. So that's free money. Free money. Money that was not even planned for. So that's a glad tidings. So this is a boy. وَأَسَرُّهُ بِضَاعَةً. So then, when this one saw Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and lifted Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam up. So the next situation is for them to keep Yusuf among their merchandise, their goods, the goods which they were going to sell. So they hide Yusuf wa asaruhu. They kept him secret, hiding in their goods, which, because they were travelers, they were actually traders, so they kept Yusuf there so that they will sell Yusuf. Now imagine the situation. Wallahu alimun bima ya'malun. Allah knows about what they were doing. Allah knows about what they were doing. Just imagine test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone trying to get water from a well, and mistakenly, unfortunately, you fetch a boy, a son, instead of water, and you did not even take time to ask him, how come you were inside the well? What happened to you? Who brought you here? What's your name? Anything. You decided to ask any question. Rather, instead, you felt that was a profit for you, and you decided to keep him as part of the items you were selling. That's so bad of them. But then, because of the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they did not care about who was Yusuf. They did not even care. All they care about is the money they were going to get. So they hide Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in their goods. So wallahu alimun bima ya'malun. Allah knows about what they were doing. وَشَرَوْهُ. Then they sold Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam بِثَمَنٍ بَخْسٍ. So they sold Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam at a cheap price. At a cheap price. Bakhs is reduced. Reduced. And the thaman is actually the price of something. So they sold Yusuf at a very cheap price, at a lower price, because they don't know the value of Yusuf. Ordinarily, can we even sell a human being at the actual price? You can only know the worth of something you make. Something you don't make, can you know the worth? It's not possible. When you see kidnappers today, they ask for ransom, any amount they ask for. Sometimes they ask for, millions of dollars. Ask for anything. But in the real sense, we cannot price human, because we do not create human. So they sold Yusuf at a very cheap price. And imagine Yusuf, Nabiullah. Imagine the kind of, quality that Allah bestowed on Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. The most beautiful, the most handsome. The most handsome. But they do not care about the handsomeness. They don't even care to know. They don't even care to know. Even they don't even care to ask about his name or anything. All they care about is just to get money. So they sold him at a cheap price. Darahima ma'duda. And that price was countable silver coins. Countable number of silver coins. Just few silver coins. Not even gold. Not even gold coins, silver.
Not dirham.
Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam.
Dinar.
So they sold at a very cheap price. So وَكَانُوا فِيهِ مِنَ الزَّاهِدِينَ. Because what they actually wanted to do with Yusuf is just to get rid of him. They were not interested in, getting big money, because they did not even plan it. It's just a free money. So all they want to do is to get rid of him, and they get the money. That was what they did. So this is, a test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Perhaps these people will have asked him, what's your name? Where are you from? This and that. And they will have taken him back to, the father. But they decided not to do that. So that the purpose for which he was created will be achieved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and this is, like, the end and the beginning of the next scene as well. So, which next week, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we are going to be taking that. So, one of the take home today is, the test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should expect that Allah would definitely test us. And the greater the level of our iman, the greater will be the level of the test. And usually Allah tests people with what they like, with what they love. This test here now, we have tests to like how many people? Three? Do you also suggest 3? He said 4 now. How many people were tested here? Yusuf?
The father.
The brothers.
The brothers.
The seller of those people that come.
Yes, the travelers. So
and
Yusuf himself was tested. Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, the father, was tested. So the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam were tested. And the travelers were also tested. So you imagine the level of the test. But then the test, the greatest test here is that of Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, who happened to be the father of Yusuf. But still he was patient. And one of what among the children, Yaqub really loved Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. But then he was tested with
what he loved.
With Yusuf, what he loved. So that is to tell us that usually people are tested with what they love. What if you like something, then you may be tested with that. You have to be patient. Fasabrun jamil. You have to be patient, and after that, Allah is going to bring something better. Imagine Nabiullah Yusuf as well, a young boy, of which scholar says he was not even up to 10 at the time. He was thrown into well by his own brothers. And at the time when he thought like there was going to be, a kind of
vacation,
salvation. When at the point he thought there was going to be a salvation, when he stuck to the bucket, because at the time when he saw bucket, he hung into it, thinking like he was saved. But that initiated another problem for him, a young boy. But still, even despite that test, he was inspired. So we should always see the good things that accompany the trials. So whenever we are passing through any trial, we should also see the good side of it. May Allah assist us. We should know that there will be some good things that will come with it. But then we have to be patient. For verily, Allah's purpose will be realized. Allah's purpose will be realized. And for us that are parents, we should take note of how we, relate with our children and how we deal with them, and especially how we try to deal with one in relation to the others. And also, we should learn how to relate with people such a way that when people are not sincere, we'll be able to use our psychology and detect that they are really not sincere. And we should beware of speculation. We should beware of speculation, because we are saying that we should know how to relate people so that we'll be able to detect insincerity. Does not mean that we should not keep speculating all the time, especially the evil speculations, which is haram. So we should beware of that. We should beware of that. And we should not feel like other people's are not important. We should not think like we are more important than others. We should see ourselves like others, so that will not push us into envy and will not lead us into a greater evil. We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our ibadah in this blessed month of Ramadan. Whatever I've said that is right is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also from the teachings of our scholars. And whatever wrong I have said is basically from the whispering of shaitan, and also from my personal self-own misdeed. May Allah forgive us the shortcoming. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid, wa barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Once again, I'm sorry we have gone beyond time, but just I want us to finish this scene so that we can continue with another scene next week, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And I hope Professor is happy today, because yesterday was saying like we are moving at a very slow pace. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.